Hello everyone, my name is Aurelius Augustinus, or as you probably know me, Bishop Augustine of Hippo. My communities of accountability are my mother Monica. She was a devout Christian woman and she did her best to make sure that I was raised well and with an education. I would also say St. Ambrose because he inspired me to convert to Christianity, my students while I was teaching in Carthage because I wanted to be a good example for them, and all of the people from Africa as my home is in Algeria. I value my mother's opinion most. She was a large and big influence on my life, and I did most of the things that she wanted me to. Some examples are that I remarried when she asked me to leave my concubine and our son to marry a legitimate wife. I eventually followed her advice to convert to Christianity, and I allowed her to accompany me on many of my travels, like from Algeria to Carthage and then to Milan. Um, my life's goal is to make sense of the religion that we choose to follow as Christians and interpret how it impacts and can impact our lives. Um, in my opinion, the principal duty of a Christian is to embark fearlessly on the long journey of healing that is one's life, that we may come to love that all the people that we may come to love all the people we pass and abstain from the greatest sin, which is pride. Um, my principal audience when fighting for social change would be the Christians. When I was writing the Confessions in the City of God, I was hoping to illuminate the ideals of Christianity for both myself and others so that we may all understand the necessity of helping each other. My conception of power is words and discourse. Our greatest weapons are our words, and being able to effectively and persuasively communicate our ideas and desires. However, when words fail, military support isn't so bad, as we can see from my encounters with the rebellious Donatists. When words don't do the trick, a nice Roman army will help you out. I suppose such power operates in numbers. When you have more people, you can accomplish more things. Sometimes it's an unfortunate reality, like with the Donatists, but sometimes people with the bigger army will win just because of that simple advantage. My four principal truth claims are, like in the City of God, I mention if we define something as a necessity, it does not take away from the freedom of our will. If we will it, it is. And sometimes things must be done out of the necessity for the will of God, and that doesn't necessarily make it any less our own will. The second one is pride is the beginning of sin. The third one is there's two cities in which humans remain suspended, the city of God and the city of man. Every day we work toward getting closer to one or the other, but we'll never reach either of them in this life. Christian life is a long journey of healing is the fourth truth claim. Since we are dislocated by the fall from the Garden of Eden, all Christians are on a long journey attempting to return to their original glory. Some principal sources I use to justify my truth claims are mostly political and social. Having traveled from Algeria, where I grew up, with my father and his indigenous religion, and my mother, who was a devout Christian, to when I was in Carthage, where I joined the Manichaean movement and learned about the ideas of dualism, like the light and the shadows. And then also, like when I was in Milan, where I was very inspired by St. Ambrose and eventually converted to Christianity and ascended to the title of bishop. All these travels in my family are the principal sources on which I draw to justify my claims. So, in my opinion, I think institutions are good. They provide a sense of community and solidarity and strength. I think the church currently, in like the 4th and 5th century, has a ways to go, but having been brought up in a time after the Council of Nicaea, it was a bit easier as a Christian. The interpretation of the Holy Trinity had been worked out. Christians can practice openly, and movement towards the a universal biblical canon was a step in the right direction. I do, however, think the church needs more consistency across the board, different priests and different rules different priests have different rules, and it's difficult to follow what the rules and necessities are of each priest or church, especially when you're traveling a lot like I do. Um, I view Jesus to be like a teacher to us all. He's here to show us and give us hints on the right paths to follow so that we may walk a bit easier to the city of God. He is a figure that embodies the ideal Christian, and he teaches us by leading by example. For example, giving himself for the salvation of those who hate him, loving those who hate him. Um, I believe his most important teaching was love thy neighbor. We are all responsible for our decisions, and we are all doing our best. We should respect each other and our journeys of healing. After spending the last few days as a part of the DePaul community, I would say that I am happy with the way things are. There are many Christians at DePaul, but also people of other various faiths as well. I'm happy to see that many people are following their faith and what they believe is necessary to their personal journey of healing. I am, however, a bit disheartened with the usage and reading of the Bible. When I was growing up, not everybody had the exposure to such an accessible text, and now that it is so universally available, I'm sad to see that its use is so minimal. Needless to say, the students of DePaul are very involved in helping their neighbors through community service. There's a soup kitchen every week, and they provide food to the homeless. And so I believe that to be helpful when they're on their path to the city of God. And even I'm supporting my neighbors of DePaul as well. Thank you.